speed, and it made me a little bit confused because actually I choose this day instead of Friday because Friday I am free. I choose Thursday because I felt today the speed is okay, but unfortunately this is not very good. So you may think I am a confused student.
No,
And
no, no, it's
yeah,
okay.
because I have delay for in answering your questions because whatever you are asking, actually the book is coming later and I cannot see the text. This is my problem, and
Okay.
yes, this is partly is internet problem, not my brain problem.
No worries, that's fine. Okay, so can you see my page now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. As you can see, this is for part B.
Yeah.
The recommendation is always start by understanding the question. Okay, and
Again, your voice was disconnected.
okay,
I didn't understand. Can you repeat it?
sure. The recommendation is always start by understanding the question.
Hello.
Okay. Part B.
Yes.
Okay. Always start by understanding the question.
Yes.
If you can even paraphrase,
Mhm.
if you don't understand it in the first place, try to change the sentence, make it more understandable.
Mhm.
Okay. Read for main message in the text and why has it been written. Okay. So that is look for the main message in the text. Okay. So that is important.
Mhm.
Usually that is a question.
Mhm.
Don't be distracted or misled by word or synonym spotting.
Mhm.
Okay. So don't be distracted by word or synonym spotting. Right?
Yes.
Remember that the answer must be an exact match to the text. There cannot be an incorrect element in the answer option. We will discuss this. Learn to differentiate between main ideas and supporting ideas. Okay?
Mhm.
Differentiate between main ideas and supporting ideas. Okay? And do not notice individual words and assume that when put together they mean the idea given in the answer option. Take the time to read carefully for meaning. Okay. So do not notice individual words. Okay. Now, why is this important? Now, let's see our question. Right. Part B. If vaccines have been stored incorrectly, okay,
Mhm.
so vaccines and incorrectly, this should be reported. Staff should dispose of them. They should be sent back to the supplier. Okay. So we need to find out what it says in the passage. Okay. Manual extract, effective cold chain. The cold chain is a system of transporting and storing vaccines within the temperature range of 2 to 8 centigrades from the place of manufacture to the point of administration. Okay, so this is our main idea, right? What is cold chain? Maintenance of the cold chain is essential for maintaining vaccine potency and in turn vaccine effectiveness. So
Yes.
maintenance, okay.
Should I read the whole text?
Yes, yes.
Because
If
in IELTS, they taught us the most important or the worst mistake is to reading whole text. But here
okay.
it's different. Yes, we should
Um,
read all. Yeah.
if you can skim, that's fine, skim. But
Mhm.
some questions need reading, actually, need a more
Yes.
careful reading.
Yes.
Okay. So,
So you suggest to read whole text.
well, you have more time here. You know, you have 45 minutes. So
Yes.
and that is because definitely part C you need to read. You cannot just simply skim, and maybe
Yes.
you need to read some parts twice. So it needs deeper understanding. So
Yes.
yes, if you can skim, that's better. So purpose-built refrigerators are the preferred means of storage or vaccines. Okay. So purpose-built vaccine refrigerators, domestic refrigerators not designed for special temperature. Despite best practice, cold
Yes.
chain breach sometimes occur. Do not discard, or use any
Yes.
vaccines exposed temperatures below 2 or above 8 without obtaining further advice.
Yes.
Isolate vaccines and contact states or territory public health bodies for advice on the National Immunization Program vaccines and the manufacturer for privately purchased vaccines. Okay, so let's go. It should be
The
reported.
answer is the last sentence, right? We could
Uh,
skim it and find it in this question, right?
that's right. Contact state or territory public health bodies.
Uh-huh.
So basically, it says contact. This should be reported. Now,
Yes.
you should not dispose of them.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
they should not be sent back. So, but
Mhm.
they should be reported.
Reported.
So this is an easy one. Yeah,
Yes.
it wasn't difficult.
Yes. And this in this question, I could find the answer with skimming.
That's
In
right.
this question, yes.
Okay. Now we can try skimming here and see how it works. According to extract, prior to making a home visit, nurses must do what? Okay. Home visit, nurses prior home visit, nurses record the time they leave the practice, refill their bag with necessary items, communicate their intentions to others. Okay. Now, time, bag, communicate to others. Nurse home visit guidelines. When the nurse is ready to depart, she must advise a minimum of 2 staff members that he or she is commencing home visit with one staff member responsible for logging nurses' movements. More than one person must be made aware of patients' nurses' movement. Failure to do so could result in breakdown of communication and increased risk to the nurse and practice. On return to the practice, the nurse will immediately advise staff members of his her return. This time will be documented, patient visit list and scanned and filed by the administration staff. This nurse attends any specimens, cold chain requirements, restocking, and biohazardous waste. Okay. So, uh, what is that?
Let me see. The time will be documented on the patient. Refill their bag with necessary items. More than one. One person must be paid. Communicate their intention to others is the correct answer.
Yes, absolutely. So why A is not correct?
Record the time they leave the practice. This is part of C. I mean, communicate their intention to others. Can cover that?
Yes. Do we have anywhere here that mentions record the time?
No.
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 So it's not mentioned.
No.
How about refilling the bag?
Yes.
Where?
The last sentences, yes.
Okay, but this first of all, this says when they come back. Okay, so it's not prior to making a home visit. So that's one point. And the second one is that this whole thing is about this communicating, because refilling the bag is only mentioned in one part, but the whole of this is actually communicating. And as you can see, the word communicate is not used in the passage, but refill has been used. And usually if you see a word, it is probably it's actually refill is synonym of restock. If you see such a thing, it's probably wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think this is true in listening also, right? Sometimes they are using the exact words in wrong answer, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, what was important here, as you can see, this is the topic sentence, okay? And the rest is supporting the same thing. So basically, this communicate with their intentions to others actually is said here. The rest explains the same thing, that the communication shouldn't break down, okay? And so that is the main message. Right. So if you go down to what is being described in this section of guideline, changes in procedures, best practice, exceptions. So changes, best practice, or exceptions. Guidelines for dealing with hospital waste. All biological waste must be carefully stored and disposed of safely. Contaminated materials such as blood bags. Okay, so it says, this is the topic sentence, all biological waste must be carefully stored and disposed of safely. So it's probably the best practice up till now, but we don't jump to conclusions. We have to read until the end, okay? Contaminated materials such as blood bags, dirty dressing, disposable is potentially hazardous, treated accordingly. Biological waste, contaminated material not disposed properly. Staff and members community could be exposed to infection material, infected. Essential hospital have protocols for dealing with biological waste contaminated. All staff are familiar with them and follow them. Disposal of hazardous material is time-consuming and expensive, so it is important to separate non-contaminated waste, paper, packaging, non-sterile materials, make separate disposal containers available. Waste is created so staff can sort waste as it is being discarded. Okay. Okay, anything? Did we note any change here? Is it talking
No.
about any change? So the
No,
changes
I
in
think
procedure
B is
wrong.
Yeah, B is correct.
Yes.
B.
So we have
Yes.
changes, and how about exceptions? We don't have any exceptions. It's
No,
actually
no,
talking about best practice.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So, are we okay with this now?
Yes.
So it is important to recognize the key message, which usually comes as the first, as the main idea, and the rest are supporting ideas to support this. And if you want to decide if one of these is wrong or correct, that needs to include all the passage, not just part of it. Okay?
Yes.
So, shall we go to part C?
Yes.
I think that is the one that you have some problems with, isn't that? Yep.
No. No.
Part C, you don't have problems?
Part C. Do you want to actually discuss this or start listening?
We want to finish with the reading today and then work on listening the next session. Or
Okay, yes.
do you
I
prefer?
have made an appointment.
Yep. Okay.
For that. Yes.
Okay. This part of the reading, part C, needs higher cognitive skills. And this means that basically it tells us where the question is. Usually we don't have to look for it, and that makes things a bit easier. Basically, it tells you which paragraph you should look. Now, what we need to do is read all of these carefully. So the writer suggests that the potential for harm from asbestos is increased by what? So potential harm is increased by what? Okay. Now, we can actually say a change in the method of manufacture. Okay. So what is this? Change. That's the most important bit. And method of manufacture. The way it reacts with other substances. Okay. Reaction with other substances. The fact that it is used so extensively, the fact, okay, used extensively, and its presence in recently constructed buildings, recently constructed buildings. Okay, so the key ideas here are change in manufacturing, reacting to other substances, and it is used extensively, and its presence in the recent buildings. Okay, so what is the most important part of each? Recent buildings, extensively, reacting, changing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral that has been linked to human lung disease. It has been used in a huge number of products due to its high tensile strength, relative resistance to acid and temperature, and its varying textures and degrees of flexibility. It doesn't evaporate, dissolve, burn, or undergo significant reactions with other chemicals. Because of the widespread use of asbestos, its fibers are ubiquitous in the environment. Building insulation materials manufactured since 1975 should no longer contain asbestos. However, products made or stockpiled before this time remain in many homes. Indoor air may become contaminated with fibers released from building materials, especially if they're damaged or crumbling.
I think we can find the answer, right?
Can we?
Here mentioned some of the opinion there. We can, if we go back to the answers, I think we can find.
Okay.
Question. Okay. Number B is surely wrong. The fact that is used for extensively. C also wrong. Its presence is recently constructed building. Its presence. I think D, right?
Okay. In the paragraph that we read, which paragraph is it? It's the introduction paragraph, okay?
Yes.
In this question, does it say look at paragraph 1?
No.
No. In this question, it says look at paragraph 1.
Yes.
Okay. So we don't know if that one paragraph actually answers our question.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So the writer suggests the potential for harm in asbestosis is increased, but we don't know. We haven't actually heard his opinion. It was just this was just the beginning. Okay.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. So what should we do? We quickly read the first line of each, the first sentence of each paragraph. Okay. One of the three types of asbestos-related disease is asbestosis, a process of lung tissue scarring caused by asbestos fibers. So let's talk about disease. Okay. There are two major groups of asbestosis fibers, amphibole and chrysotile fibers. Okay, two different types. Depending on their shape and size, asbestos fibers deposit in different areas of the lung. Okay. So, there is no cure for asbestosis. Chrysotile is the only form of asbestos that is currently in production today. Okay, right. So let's see. What was what was the idea you got from this, from the passage? Its presence in recently constructed buildings is not correct, okay? Because in 1970, after 1975, it is not used. So this is wrong. A change in the method of manufacture is wrong because it was not mentioned really.
Yes.
Okay. The way it reacts with other substances it was mentioned
Yes.
in the first paragraph. The fact that it is used so extensively is actually, it is also mentioned because it says you can find it everywhere. Okay, so A and D are wrong, but from B and C, which one do you think might be the right one?
The fact that is used so extensively, I think this is correct.
I agree. I think it is right.
Because this is not used now, but they have used it already. They have used it. So in a way, they are damaging, they are breaking the constructions. They may spread.
Okay. Now,
Correct?
let's look at this paragraph now. Despite their association with lung cancer, chrysotile products are still used in 60 countries, according to the Asbestos Institute. Okay. Although the asbestos industry proclaims the safety of chrysotile fibers, which are now embedded in less friable and dusty products, little is known about the long-term effects of these products because of the long delay in development of disease. In spite of the potential health risk, durability and cheapness, asbestos remains a significant clinical problem, even after marked reductions in on-the-job exposure to asbestosis. Again, this is due to the long period of time between exposure and the onset of disease. So, what do you think?
Are still used in 60 countries. It means it is used now.
Yes.
So I think C is correct.
Okay.
So you, with this practice, with this test, we should know in part C, an answer can be found. The first question's answer can be in the last paragraph, right?
Yes, or it can be in the whole of the text, actually, basically. So this requires a good understanding of the whole format.
Okay.
And remember, usually when you write an article or an essay, you
Yes.
write
Conclusion.
the conclusion. Okay, so you have the first bit is usually introduction. Okay, and it's opening, and it says there is a widespread use of asbestosis. Okay, so they're everywhere. But does it say it actually increases the risk or not? Now, but when we come down here to this one, right, it says the writer suggests the potential for harm from asbestosis is increased. How is it increased? By the fact that it is used so extensively, or its presence in recently constructed buildings. So, a change in methods of manufacture or reacting with other substance. Now, here, this is about cure for asbestosis, okay? So it's not about anything about those. Depending on the shape and size, they can deposit in different areas. So again, this is not answering our question. Two major groups, again, we don't know. It is not mentioned. One of the three types of asbestos-related diseases is asbestosis, okay? So basically, what is this, the whole thing? It talks about asbestosis. This talks about two major groups of asbestos fibers, This talks about the shape and size and
Yes.
different areas of the lung. No cure. And then comes down here, the only form that is currently in production. And despite their association, are still used in 60 countries. So you can see that in the first, in the introduction paragraph, it says that it has been banned after 1974, but here it says it is used, chrysotile is used in 60 countries, okay? And this is a significant clinical problem even after marked reduction. Okay, so basically, yes, I think the answer is D. Okay, so our first question is actually answered by the first and the last paragraph. Yep, I mean the
Yes.
middle paragraphs didn't actually mention.
Yes. And D was the one I had chosen first.
That's right.
Yes.
But yes, but I want you to say why, because in the first paragraph, if you look at the first paragraph, this is wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the word ubiquitous in paragraph 1 suggests that asbestosis fibers can be found everywhere, may last for a long time, have an unchanging nature, or are a natural substance. How do we approach these questions when basically usually a word which is used in a meaning which is different from its main meaning, like
Yes.
we say it's like a simile, or it is used for as a different usage.
Yes.
How can we find out what it means?
We should read the text
Okay,
and then understand.
okay. Where do we start? What part of the text is more relevant to this word?
I think it should be in this paragraph that
Yes,
we can find the word.
yes. And it's probably one sentence before and one sentence
Yes.
after. Okay.
Yes.
So we want to go and see when this word is used. Is it trying to say it's everywhere, or so it's place, time, nature, or whether it is a natural substance? Okay.
Let's go.
Right. So we go back to here, to one sentence before that,
Yes.
and say it doesn't evaporate, dissolve, burn, or undergo significant reactions with other chemicals because of the widespread use of asbestos. Its fibers are ubiquitous in the environment.
Unchanged nature.
Well, okay. How about the widespread use?
Yes, because of widespread of everywhere.
Yes, they're everywhere.
Yes, yes, sorry. But first sentence, it doesn't evaporate, dissolve, burn, or unchanged, significant reaction. This sentence actually shows that is unchanged, but the second sentence maybe is correct. Second sentence is more related to the word.
Yes. It says because of widespread use.
Yes, correct.
They are ubiquitous. Okay,
Yes.
widespread use. Because of widespread use, they're everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, good. The case study of a 67-year-old man is given to show what? Okay, 67-year-old man. Smoking is unrelated to diagnosis of asbestosis. Smoking, unrelated asbestosis. Doctors should be able to diagnose it earlier. The time from exposure to disease may cause delayed diagnosis. Patient must provide full employment history details to their doctors. Okay, so
okay.
So smoking unrelated to asbestosis. Doctors should diagnose earlier. Exposure can cause delayed diagnosis, and a full employment history patients must provide. Okay, let's go and see where the 67-year-old man is.
Yes.
66-year-old man. Okay, that's it here. Okay. Breathlessness advances throughout the disease and even further asbestos inhalation. The fact is highlighted in the case of 67-year-old retired plumber. He was on Ramipril to treat his hypertension and developed persistent dry cough, which his doctor presumed to be an ACE inhibitor-induced cough. The Ramipril was changed to losartan. The patient had never smoked and did not have a history of asthma or COPD. His cough worsened and he complained of breathlessness on exertion. In view of his history and the fact that he was a non-smoker, he was referred for a chest x-ray and to the local respiratory physician. His doctor was surprised to learn that the patient had asbestosis, diagnosed by a high-resolution CT scan. The patient then began legal proceedings to claim compensation, as he had worked in a dockyard 25 years previously, during which time he was exposed to asbestos. Okay. Oh, sorry. Right. So the question was, so the case study of the 67-year-old man is given to show what? Okay. Now, so the case of this man was given as an example. Okay.
Yes.
So the story of the man is probably not relevant itself. Actually, we need to go back and see why this case study is given.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we want to see which one is the case. Smoking is not related. Doctors should diagnose earlier. Exposure to disease causes delayed diagnosis, or full employment history is important.
This is another example that we should read the whole text.
That's right.
Yes.
So the story of a 67-year-old man is given here, and this fact is highlighted. Okay, what fact? So there is a fact.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So on the three types of one of the three types of asbestos-related diseases, asbestosis, a process of lung tissue scarring caused by asbestos fibers. The symptoms of asbestosis usually include slowly progressing shortness of breath and cough, if often 20 to 40 years after exposure. breathlessness advances throughout disease even without further asbestosis inhalation. Okay, so slowly progressing. Okay, and there's a 20 to 40 year delay, and therefore, and so this man was diagnosed very late because he was on ramipril, then relosartan, then referred, and high resolution CT scan finally diagnosed. Okay, so I think we've got the answer.
Yes.
Which one is that?
I think C. I think it was C.
That's right.
Yes, C.
That's right. The time from exposure to disease may cause delayed diagnosis. So, what did I do here? What I did was I don't look at single words. Actually, I look at these are, we call these idea units. Okay. So it says slowly progressing, and 20 to 40 years after. And here, this was actually explaining the time lapse, and
Yes. A question. Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
I think we could answer this question when we read first, second, third, fourth, and fifth sentence. It could be enough. Is it okay? And it was necessary to read the whole text. If we could start from one of the three types, and from here, the symptoms of asbestosis usually include slowly progressing, and then seeing the fact is highlighted, I think we could decide.
Okay. Yes and no. Yes. We can say that. We can say when it says actually this example is given as what. We can say that, but if you haven't written the man's story, you wouldn't actually know what the story is trying to say. Because we read it, we knew that he was coughing, first ramipril, then losartan, then chest X-ray, then CT scan, and then so it means that it took some time.
Okay.
And it was 25 years before, so 25 years previously, he had exposure. So, so I would say yes and no.
Yes.
Probably because we read this part, now you say we can do that one.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm not looking at words. I'm looking at bigger units. Okay. Bigger units of information.
Yes, got it.
Is it easy?
Yes.
The third paragraph.
Actually, in reading, normally I am not able to finish the whole questions. Sometimes 5, sometimes 6 question. I cannot find the answers because of the time. I couldn't finish the last questions in my real exam.
Oh, okay. I think that there are 2 texts and each of them is 6 questions. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
So you probably don't get to here, huh? 22, 8 questions. Oh, 8 and 8. Yes, 16.
8 and 8.
Yes, is 15 to 22. That's 8, and that one is 8 15 to 22, that's 8, yeah.
Maybe 5 or 6 questions. I had to choose the answers by
Yeah,
chance.
yeah. So the 8 questions here and 8 questions there. So yeah, that's 16 questions. So do you get to read part of the second one, the second text?
Sorry, I didn't get your question because
So
I had disconnect.
right.
Yes,
So you finish this the first text, and then you go to the second text, but you can't finish it, basically.
I couldn't finish. Yes, maybe 6 questions. I couldn't read and find the answers.
Okay. So what can we do? You know, what we can do is either to save time from part B, or to do this bit a bit quicker.
Yes. Actually, I think majority of my answers were true, were correct, because I got 320, 330 in first exam and 310 in second exam. So I think most of my answers were correct. I
Okay.
didn't time to finish. In part A, I could find maybe 17 answers, and they may be correct. And in second part, I mean part B and C, I could find most of them, and 5 or 6 were left without any correct answer, and they were chosen by chance.
Okay. So what do you think we should do then?
I think you review again, summarize whatever I should do in part 3, part C, and I should practice to make my speed faster.
Okay. So yes, I think it's if you work on this formula, okay, if you work on the key ideas, okay,
Yes,
so the key idea is here everywhere. This is time, this is unchanging nature, and this is natural substance. Well, natural substance is obviously wrong, but of these
yes,
three, you were thinking between everywhere and unchanging nature, basically.
yes,
Okay. But
yes.
yeah, you can work on the idea units or the key ideas, and that's one way. Do you want to try and do that next test in a short time? Let's say 20 minutes. Is it? Would that be something? Do you think you could do? So there are 8 questions, and do them in 20 minutes. See,
No, for
not
later.
20 minutes. No, not 20, because the whole thing is part B and C is 45. So we say 6 and 6 and 8 and 8. Okay. So 22 questions, 45 minutes. Yeah, it's 2 minutes each.
Yes,
So right, so let's do that in 8 questions and 16 minutes. Yeah, is that okay?
yes.
See how it goes and see if you can complete it. I understand. In real exam, you will be very tired by the end because it's so intensive.
Yes.
And you have listening first and then reading,
Yes.
and it uses a lot of sugar. But anyway, just try that and see how it
Okay.
goes.
Okay.
I've sent you this practice test, so you can use that. Also,
Can you send me more tests for practicing?
at the moment, what I have is these, which is, where's that? Have you seen this one? The OET, it's here, OET material. Have you seen these, Jason?
I am not very sure. I should see.
Okay, let me open it, Jason. No, this is listening. Reading. Have you seen this? 25 tests. So it's basically whatever is available. Kaplan, practice, E2 language, OET online, IRS. Okay. So it's got all of them. So maybe you have seen some of them.
Maybe, yes.
These are the, yeah. So yeah, Kaplan, practice, sample 1, 2, practice test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, E2 language 1 to 5, OET online 6, and IRS 5. Yeah. Would you like me to send this to you?
Yes, I would appreciate.
Okay. So that's the. I think this is the. This includes everything. Well, have a look at that. And okay. And if I find new material, I will let you know. Okay.
I appreciate.
Okay.